Well, jeepers! You're listening to Smash or Pass.
Hi everyone, welcome to another video on the JayBee
Hello.
and Milly channel. We are as always joined by Rhianna.
Hello!
Okay, so in today's episode we are going to be reviewing A Tiki Scare Is No Fair. So we're up to episode 6 of series 2.
Yeah, it's exciting. So I guess apologies for the lack of uploads for these reviews. It's so weird being so busy, but I think it's good what we're doing. Yeah, the last 2 weeks we've literally helped launch the new Daphne and Velma book. We've been featured on like every news outlet under the sun. It's crazy when you think most shows take a month to get an episode out, and we're just 1 week behind because we've been doing crazy things. I think it's admirable.
I've started to come up with a recording schedule to make this a bit better for everyone as well, more content too.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Okay, perfect. So I guess for those of you that haven't seen this episode for a while or before, do we have a Rhianna plot summary?
We do have a Rhianna plot summary. So, Scooby and Shaggy are enjoying a really nice luau, courtesy of the one and only John Sims, who's a local reporter who is giving them a tour of the Hawaiian Islands. And of course, Shaggy being Shaggy, he is not looking forward to the following day's destination. It is a haunted village in the mountains. And that's when Mr. Sims is taken aback, because he doesn't remember that ever being part of his tour, so he warns Shaggy against going up to it. Just after he delivers this warning, though, ghost drums begin to beat, and a frightening masked figure appears, a witch doctor, warning them to leave the sacred grounds of Mano Tiki Tia. Of course, the villagers scatter, and Shaggy finds himself alone. So, the witch doctor, of course, warns both locals and tourists of the wrath of the god Mano Tiki Tia. And the gang being the gang, they can't leave this alone. Something must be going on. So they decide to explore the area for clues, repeatedly running into the witch doctor and a 50-foot stone idol of Mano Tiki Tia. Is it actually the gods coming at the gang, or is it just a guy in a mask? Let's find out.
So, because we're dealing with a witch doctor, we are changing this show from Smash or Pass to Ooh Ee Ooh Ah Ah or Ooh Ee Ooh Na Na.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so we're sticking to that. We're sticking to that. Okay. So, Milly, what would you first tell the witch doctor?
Does everyone else think the first scene of this reminds them of Aloha Scooby Doo?
Or does this? Wait, I don't know. I'm sorry. I guess because it's kind of Hawaiian, right? They're doing the little hula dance.
I got really strong like Aloha vibes.
Yeah.
Is the witch doctor? I always thought though the weird thing is that the witch doctor's Indian, right? But it isn't. I think I used to get the Indian doctor and the witch doctor mixed up. Because I thought this is Indian, but Hawaii doesn't have Indian. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird one. It definitely is a weird one. But I'm not expecting them to get all like the details nailed down in like 1970. But I don't know. Where do we start? So we're obviously seeing John Sims, and there's a mystery. What is this mystery, Milly?
It is the mystery of the Tiki Scare.
So A Tiki Scare Is No Fair. Pretty decent like title. And is this the first one where like the text of like the title card is all different? Because it's the first one that I really noticed.
Controversially, I'd say it looked like Flintstones text. Is that what I said initially?
Yeah, you said Flintstones, and I was almost thinking more like bamboo-y.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so JayBee, you always take really good notes for this, so tell us what you've got for the start of this episode.
Not a great deal, to be honest. I think that the art style is so good, like the backgrounds, the characters, everything is kind of on point with this one. I really like this season that they've gone out of their way to maybe, you know, sometimes give us stuff we've never seen before, like cities, but even in an episode like this, they're quite literally giving us like a dancing sequence on the beach to start with, which we've seen countless other times, but they found a way to switch up the scene, and that's the first thing that I really noticed. Like, they've given us a little taste of what's familiar, but with a spin on it. I like it a lot so far. Like, I'm finding no complaints about any of the beginning, really.
No, and I mean, I think this one's quite a cold open as well, right? So, what do we think to the villain for this one?
I love that. I think they're one of the more iconic ones. And I do believe that this is one of the villains that was meant to be in Monsters Unleashed. But they cut it. But it was different. In the concept art for Monsters Unleashed, it looks exactly like in this episode. But the actual footage that we got from Peter Crosmer, he's just like a big face, isn't he? With like a staff that screams.
I don't know why I'm saying this, but it reminds me of something that you'd maybe see on the island for 2002.
Oh, it is, yeah. And I think they do have them, like the sunshine ghouls or whatever.
So you know what I meant by that? Oh, okay, good.
It looks like something from Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Did you watch that?
No.
You should watch it. Wait, has Rhianna seen it?
I don't think so.
Oh. I want to start a reacts channel. Can we do it? Jam Fam React?
Maybe.
If
you work out how to edit him, we'll look into it.
We'll add it to the list.
Okay, so Rhianna, what did you think to the villain? Or villains?
Chris villain.
Oh, that's true, 'cause there's multiple villains. This villain, it's for some reason always creeped me out, but I've had this like obsession with mythology and things like that from a young age. So, for me, it was really intriguing. I feel like it's a cool design. Like, it's simple and I guess humanoid in a lot of ways, but it has elements that I feel is different from like the caveman, for example, which I think you were made very clear wasn't the best design. But the thing is with like the witch doctor, so not only was he like the costume was put on display in the museum in 2004, so Monster Unleashed, but he also made a cameo at the end of Scooby Doo Curse of the Lake Monster. So he's appeared in several things, and also I watched the night that the clown cried of Mystery Incorporated last night, and it makes a reference to Mono Tiki Tia. Well, of course it like doesn't happen in Hawaii, obviously, but they mention it. So it's definitely a villain that has stood the test of time and is referenced very frequently, and I feel like that's quite cool to see, because it's not really one that some people would be, oh, let's just keep reusing it, but they sneak it in places, which is quite cool.
And Rhianna mentioned that this is quite a humanoid villain, so JB, you said you like it.
It's interesting, yeah. It's not just guy that you can meet on the street. It's a guy with a twist, and for all isn't. I mean, here's the thing. There's some that works and some that doesn't. I think it's like the style of the mask and like the wacky colouring of the robe. Whereas a very similar creature, you know, in terms of what they do outfit-wise, is Iron Face, who I'm actually not a big fan of at all.
Boo.
But no, it works. And what I find funny about this is that this is a white guy in this costume, but the hands are brown. So this guy full on like browns up for the role. He commits. Oh,
God.
He faces 2022 cancellation to be a villain, and you'll have to see it. Which is weird though, because his like brown falls off when he gets unmasked. So I don't quite know what happens there, but I think what he decided that he would have more of a chance of getting away with it if he was a white guy in terms of the police. So he had to like fight or flight. I want to do that.
Oh my god.
So, I mean, we're kind of saying how this episode's lasted the test of time, but I think we see this frequently. But I noticed this one had a few issues in terms of, like, for example, Daphne's tights I forgot multiple of times.
Yes.
Here's the thing, you guys are going to think that I'm a pervert.
We already do.
But it happens so frequently, it eventually gets to a point where it's like, clearly adding the tights is cumbersome. So they should really just get rid of the tights and just let her go bare-legged.
See, I could understand... Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. I just one thing that I also realized that was missing of Daphne was, when Shaggy crashes into the pineapple parlor, Daphne doesn't have a nose.
Oh gosh. See, the thing with the tights is I got it in series 1. It could have been they had 2 different like visions of Daphne, and different artists were working on different visions. But by series 2, I kind of thought that maybe there'd have been a more clear-cut idea.
I mean, why do the tights disappear? It's obviously an animation issue, but like, do they need to? Like, if she always has tights, and here's what you've got to imagine, and here's where maybe even adds credence to you. If her character, who obviously isn't real, who's obviously animated in this, has tights on, she doesn't have tights on. She just has purple legs, right? In terms of animation.
Yeah, and they remembered to draw the legs.
Yeah.
They remembered to add colour to them.
So it's interesting.
I've just found a list of animation mistakes or glitches, technical glitches in this episode. They did Scooby and Daphne dirty completely. So, Scooby's collar turns brown a few times. Daphne's nose is missing several times. Daphne also doesn't have a mouth at one stage.
Oh, I noticed that.
And there's like Scooby, his eyes, something happens with his eyes where they look different. I think they're coloured instead of being white. Daphne's mouth disappears again. Her scarf disappears. Then her headband also disappears. Velma's freckles disappear. Daphne's tights disappear again. Sim's teeth are flesh-coloured at one stage.
Flesh-coloured? What do you mean by flesh-coloured?
Not white.
Like they look like his skin. And when Scooby shouts "yow" whilst surfing at the end of the episode, his mouth doesn't move at all.
Oh.
So there's like a lot of glitches in this episode and things that they missed out. So there's also a scene where Scooby is a lot bigger than he should be when he's hula dancing.
Yeah. There was certainly quite a few mistakes, but one thing I did like about the animation is, when they some of them have been kidnapped and they all kind of run into a heap. That was animated quite well.
What
Even though that's the
iterations?
scene where they forget her tights.
What iterations of Daphne doesn't wear tights?
Gala.
Yeah. Melter and Be Cool. Is that it?
No. Zombie
like
Island.
Alien Invasion.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, but that outfit
Like the Alien
sucks.
Invasion.
They should just do
Cyberchain.
away with the tights at this point. Wait, and she doesn't wear them obviously in Alien Invaders. How do we know their tights are not stockings? Like, logically. We don't, right?
JayBee, you're the only person that's creepy enough to care.
Well, no, but it's an animation. So it's just, to be fair, we don't know. They could just be really long socks. I guess
Well,
speculate in the comment section what they are.
they do often get called, looking at this page, instead of it being tights, they call them pantyhose, so basically tights.
What's
That's how most people-
pantyhose?
Tights or leggings.
It's what Gran calls tights sometimes.
Huh. That's interesting. I've never heard that before. Pantyhose.
Pantyhose. It's quite fancy, to be honest.
Well, there's hose not loyal.
Would you like a fun little cultural fact about this episode?
Oh, what are you gonna say about panties then? Yeah, we can have,
Oh,
we
JayBee!
can have some facts.
I'm so sorry,
Welcome to
Millie.
the
I was just
Panty
trying to get him off of
Podcast.
that bit.
The number one news source on all your panty needs.
So, oh my god. Okay. So a tiki, it basically refers to a large wood and stone carving of humanoid forms from Central Eastern Polynesian like cultures of the Pacific Ocean. So the term is also used in I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I think it's Maori mythology or something like that, where the Tiki is known as the first man.
Oh, it might be Maori.
Maori, maybe.
That's where the geezer's from, Fear the Walking Dead.
The geezer. There's a lot of geezers.
What's his name? Travis. My main man.
Who's Travis?
No,
What?
don't, because you didn't want to with me and you should have. He's a dad.
Oh, is that Fear the Walking Dead?
Yeah, Fear the Walking Dead. That Peter Crosman worked on. Wait, is that it? No, I was...
Yeah, that was like that was it. It was basically just saying that what Tiki means in different things and how in
Maori.
mythology, Maori, thank you. It's Tiki is referred to as the first man. So I mean, technically, you could see it that the witch doctor, if it was real, could basically be a Manu Tiki Tio was basically the first man on this island, which is quite cool. Which is why its spirit is hanging around, but it's a guy in a mask.
So,
So
in addition to the ghost of mammary
Maori.
gland or whatever, like the ghost of mammogram,
mammogram.
there's a
Manu
Aztec
Tiki
thing,
Tio.
right? Aztec. It looks Aztec-y, but it reminds me of the big creatures from Monster of Mexico. I think it's a bit ridiculous, this, because I think it could have done just fine with
the
just the
Tiki.
voodoo guy.
Yeah.
And not that the Mexican geezer takes away from the episode, but I think it's just to a point where either one seems like clutter, or of course at the end it just seems like a bit of a plot convenience. Like I don't dislike any of them. It just seems a bit busy.
My thing is I like stuff that's realistic. And some guy dressed in a tiki outfit, yeah, I could see that.
Where?
But like I couldn't see this huge giant structure where the tiki's literally smaller than its foot. Is where it kind of is like, oh, this got a bit goofy now.
It's like a celestial being. How much? Who built that? That was him, wasn't it? Some $1 billion like android giant.
This is one of my issues with the Scooby stuff. Is like a lot of the time the motive's money, and it's like, how much did you have to spend on this? Like, think about Aloha Scooby Doo, and they have all those little robots, and it's like, really worth it?
It's not worth it.
But I think that's just because I let logic get in the way.
Well, sometimes, but again, like, if they're gonna ground things in realism, like, I'm gonna say this series is one of the more serious ones, right? Like, it's funny, but there's like a darker tone to it. I excuse series like Be Cool and What's New a lot more because they're funny.
Yeah.
They're kind of wacky series.
And this episode's missing the music we've been enjoying as well, so I kind of
Yeah.
And even Mystery Incorporated, that is purposely serious. They go out their way to say, oh, this is a stupid plan, or this is a stupid outfit. It doesn't make it okay, but at the same time, at least they're self-aware about it. Whereas this is quite self-serious, apart from all the Scooby Shaggy stuff, but then it will kind of convince you that it's a completely normal thing to do. It's weird. It's a weird one. I think they correct it instantly though, because from what I can tell, like the Scooby Doo show and all like the new Scooby Doo movies, kind of found a happy medium. I think the purists will disagree with me, but they always disagree with me. They think I'm
I don't
woke.
disagree with you.
Do you always agree with me, Rhianna?
Sometimes I don't. Majority of the times I do.
Oh, Rhianna, that's very
But-
sweet.
The thing is, you still call me a purist.
I think you are a purist. But I think you're a good purist.
So, am I a progressive purist?
Is this a right word? A neo-purist.
in Europe.
A neo-purist. Like there's those rootin' tootin' purists that are like, oh, Scooby, back in my day when there were no colours, no gays, and
Oh my
everything
God.
was all wholesome and Christian. Like those are like the radical purists.
Okay.
that are like, no, don't want no gays in my Scooby.
JayBee likes his tangents, and I'm gonna go on one now. And I feel like, because I feel like this is relevant to what you've just said. Like, I was so shocked
Root into it.
when I watched the new Buzz Lightyear movie, because I've spoken to people that made it sound like it was the end of the world, and that
Yeah.
their children were
Yeah.
watching some
Devil worshipping.
scene I'm gonna say, like, from how they described the kiss, they made it sound like their children had been forced to watch like pornographic content in the cinema. And like it was a peck between two women. And I was like, I am shocked at how far behind this world genuinely is.
And it really is.
Yeah.
And it spreads like wildfire though, because people can exaggerate stuff. Like, we've heard exaggerated versions of it, and all it takes is one snidey little comment on Mumsnet, or one like conversation like picking up their kids from school, and it spreads like wildfire that this is some disgusting movie. Now, it wasn't a great. I didn't love the movie. I loved the cat. The cat was fantastic.
Oh, Socks was cute.
But it was literally a peck. I get more, and maybe this is like personal preference, I get more weirded out when you see these old movies and shows that have parents peck their kid on the lips. Like, I'm not down for that. So if we're gonna start, but it's just ridiculous, because you literally, I thought that this was the movie from the Hellmouth, and it was just a peck. And so I think it scares me, because I've been so sheltered growing up. But I didn't think that Christians existed still. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but I always thought, okay, so Ned Flanders is like a funny stereotype on that radicalism. Nowadays it's okay, maybe you'll have people with crucifixes going to church every week, and that's great, that's lovely. You know what I mean? If that makes you happy, do it. Do whatever makes you happy, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone. But I didn't think you had these people that were like, by the Lord, my daughter won't be caught in bed with an Indian. Like, it's just mad. Like, it genuinely happens, and it's ridiculous. Oh. And Jesus was probably coloured, guys, so let's clear that up right now. He was brown daddy. If I'm probably related to it, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm a descendant.
JayBee, we know you've got a god complex, but that's maybe taking things a little bit too
Well,
far.
is it impossible?
JayBee, sometimes you go a little bit too far.
Is it impossible though, yes or no?
I mean, technically we all could be related somewhere along the line. Like, I could be Milly's billionth cousin down the line, 15th removed or something.
That's very true.
Yeah, see, I used to think that, you know, that once removed, twice removed stuff? I used to think that meant how much cosmetic surgery someone had.
Really?
Yeah, as a kid growing, because I had
Yes,
never...
but you grew up in a family that's literally 5 people.
No,
Like,
but like,
and
it's
then
my
you-
auntie twice removed, so okay, so she's
Right.
quite older, she's had like 2 facelifts or something.
Then you came to meet my family, and the first family gathering we had about 90 people in the room.
Okay, then let's not forget, you told your 90-year-old Christian grandma that I'm an atheist.
No, my family when they first... No, I'm not going into this,
And I'm not an atheist.
because it makes my family sound bad.
Well, I'm a bit of an atheist, but mostly I'm just open. I'm spiritual.
I think, okay, I'm going to try and settle this for both of you now. I think what Milly was trying to do, JayBee, was to avoid any awkward conversations or awkward moments if, like, one of her family members brought something up which you definitely didn't believe in, or
Oh, I don't
things like that.
mind.
No,
I
my-
don't
my
mind. I
auntie
really
was
don't.
like-
She could say,
You know, she wanted to
oh,
also make everyone like happy, because she wanted it all to go smoothly, because first meetings and gatherings and stuff, they matter, because that's how they'll view you for the rest of, you know, your life. That
it's
that
him,
one moment,
the atheist.
like, you know how you keep being you know how you keep being me, oh, you were like going bonkers when we first met you.
Oh,
That was
God.
our first like interaction. You didn't even know that, but because I said that was me before we started speaking, that
Oh,
first
yeah, good
reaction
point. Good point.
has stuck. So
To be fair, JayBee, it was that my auntie had invited you round for dinner, and then she started panicking because she worried that because of like a religion or something, you'd have certain dietary requirements.
Look at me.
So she
Does it
started
look like I'm gonna look
panicking.
at food and say no thank you?
She started panicking that you'd have certain foods that because of religion you weren't allowed to eat.
That's sweet. It is sweet.
And so I was like, no, it's not religious, it's okay.
See, that's fantastic. I think I get labelled by a lot of the purists as the SJW of the Scooby like fandom, right? Because I'm always going to war on Twitter defending like the Velma series or Mindy Kaling or the notion of like the gang
Didn't
being...
you do a video saying that you, well, not a video, but didn't you say that you were very apprehensive about the Velma series, not defending it?
Yeah.
On principle, I'm apprehensive because it's not done. It's done by a celebrity, right? They're like the face of it. We don't know anything about the writers, don't know anything about the animators. Whereas for Mystery Pups, I'm equally as apprehensive. But then we've got stuff like, oh my gosh, Roger Eschbacher, who loves the fandom enough to come on our show, who wrote episodes of Mystery Incorporated, which is like S-tier Scooby stuff. That makes me less apprehensive. We don't know about that for Velma.
I think the horrific Daphne and Velma movie is the reason that I'm apprehensive about the Velma series.
I mean, that's another conversation. What I'm saying is that I've been like labelled as the SJW, and also because I'm coloured, right? But genuinely, I think I'm kind of a mixture of the two. Like, I think if you're a coloured person and you get offended at a 90-year-old saying something racist, like, come on, man. Like, they're 90 years old. Like, let it go, you know what I mean? I think the issue is that I was so surprised because nowadays with like the radical Scooby stuff, like the radical... It's more of a problem on Facebook, but the Christian Scooby-Doo fans on Facebook are a nightmare. But the kind of radical Scooby-Doo purists, their kind of whole thing is that I don't even know where I was going with this. My point was, I'm very anti them, but I'm open to everything else.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So
thanks.
let's continue on with this episode. JayBee, do you want to read us through your notes? Because you take like thorough notes throughout the episode.
I don't do nothing. So, I want to say that all of these little changes, like you got Hula Scooby, kind of TV presenter Shaggy, they could all be Funko sodas. Every single one of them.
What about Velma as Jane?
Yeah, that was weird. I wanted to see Daphne as that. I don't know why they did it with Velma. But that is so interesting, because I think this is like one of the rare instances. Obviously, there's other things that the franchise will go on to do, like costume parties, you know, like be cool. But I think this is the first time that it's actually gone to a point where another member of the gang like dresses up in a jokey way, and not even tactically. I mean, it kind of is tactics, but not on the level, let's say, all the gang dressing up as, you know, Dr. Jekyll was, or Mr. Hyde. This was definitely more along the lines of she's taking what Scooby would have done in any other episode.
I think it's that thing where they all were almost too scared of making Scooby seem too human.
Yeah.
It confuses me, though.
Yeah,
That's one thing that confuses me, and I would be very curious to see, because this is why I like talking to Rhianna, right? Because I think a lot of the other platforms, you have radical Scooby-Doo people, like you've got like new thinking, or I guess like what do you call it? What am I?
JayBee?
No, but what's the opposite of a purist?
You would come under like, I guess, a fan who loves the show but isn't afraid of the change.
Yeah, I guess.
Like you enjoy it for what it is. You don't question and judge based on like changing.
That's my thing. I think a lot of the other shows make a mistake where it's either a purely just fan show, or it's a purely casual show, or if it's a show full of purists. Where I think what I like about here is you have, when we're all together, I think it's like literally the perfect combination. So you've got Rhianna, who is a purist, but not one of those purists where it's like, I can't be friends with you if you think that I'm not willing to have a conversation. Like, Rhianna's like a reasonable person, right? And then you've got smASH, who's me in terms of not open to change, but with that background knowledge that Rhianna has as well. So that's a good pairing. And then there's us, who are almost the schmugs, but in terms of the fact that we're learning and we can see things from that perspective, and we've actually got two ends of the expert spectrum to bounce off, and the fact that we're learning, I'd consider myself an expert in some things, like, I'm not gonna say who, someone on Twitter that was like tagging every single person that wasn't us, like, oh my gosh, I need help, I'm doing this research project and I want to find out about something to do with the 2002 movie. It's like, bro, we are literally 2002 experts. Every single thing about 2002 I can find out, okay? So they were like, oh my gosh, you know who, you know what, do you know about this? And obviously they don't know, because that's one niche that we've found. The 2002 movie is new age. The 2002 movie is basically the anti-purist movie in a way. Like, there's things that it does right that the purist eyes, like, they're all white, they all look like the gang basically, apart from Velma, but it doesn't matter because they made it hot. That's the hypocrisy. Linda Cardellini Velma looks nothing like original 1969 Velma. But she's hot, so it works. That's my kind of mini side thing. But everything that there is to know about the 2002 movie we found. So they got nowhere. They hit a brick wall. And I literally get cocky as well. Lovely guy, Sean Kidwell, was like trying to help them out and was like kind of tagging us in stuff. Great guy. And I was like, you know what? Give me 24 hours and I'll have a definitive answer. And 4 hours later, I heard back from a connection that we have directly to Raja Gosnell, who just disproved it. And I was like, oh yeah, mic drop. So within 4 hours, director of the movie gives them an answer. And that's what we do here. This is like a whole tangent of me just... But
so basically, what does everyone think to the unmasking here?
We're the best.
JayBee.
Again, I find it funny that the guy's brown just falls off. But I like it, you know, it's a decent plot twist, because this is an episode where not a lot of immediate suspects, but you could imagine them just unleashing, like unmasking, and then them going, oh, it was this person who was in this background shot. Which maybe would have been more interesting, but I like it.
Rhianna, what did you think to the unmasking?
It was kind of like a bit of a surprise. As JayBee said, there wasn't like a lot of immediate suspects. So part of me originally was like, okay, it's just going to be some kind of like how occasionally we get in episodes where it's like we don't see the villain at all and we're like, who's that? But somehow the gang know. But, you know, it turns out it was John Sims, and it was a decent unmasking, and I missed the chase music. Luckily this is the only episode in season 2 where we didn't have the chase music, but they could have done something really cool with like some drums, and
they could have just licensed like ooh ee ooh ding dong walla bing bang ooh ee ooh ding dong dong walla bing bang.
I guess with that little sound effect, is it a ooh ee ooh or na na for you, JayBee?
It is a certified ooh ee ooh What about for you, Milly?
Na.
Ooh ee ooh na na.
Yeah.
Ooh ee ooh na na for Tiki Scare is no fair.
But I watched this episode twice for this recording, and I didn't enjoy it any more the second time round. Because I tried to give it a chance, and I just couldn't engage with it.
What are you, an animal?
I don't like the second villain thing.
Oh yeah.
It just looks ridiculous. And I missed the chase song. And I think we're judging these episodes compared to all the other episodes that surround them, like everything else that's in series 2. And to do some incredible chase songs and then do an episode without one, it's kind of like, in comparison, no. So for me, it's a ooh-ee, ooh-na-na. And of course, that just leaves Rhianna. Is it a ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah or ooh-ee, ooh-na-na?
People will just think that we're in this call having a seizure if they just like joining out of context.
That sounded very much like our internet signal was last night. Ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah.
Right, it's Devon's back.
Mr. Glitchy.
Wacky hair.
How did you get from Daddy Dev to Glitchy? Did I miss a call? I don't remember him being called Glitchy.
I see. That's like weird. This is more of like a side thing. I'll do it very quickly. When he was glitching with Michael Korinsky, I said, "Do you want to log out then come back in again because you're like freezing a bit?" And he didn't see it until way after the interview, and all I got was him saying "Who me Glitchy," but without the comma. So not like who me like me Glitchy. Like it wasn't like that. It was what I'm Glitchy, and because I had that out of my mind at that point, I forgot I'd sent the message. So I thought he was dubbing himself Glitchy, and I obviously realised instantly when I opened it the context on that he wasn't. But I just thought, oh, Glitchy kind of works.
Oh, okay.
It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, good old Glitchy.
So does that make him Daddy Glitchy?
He's
Merge the two together.
he's Lilo and Glitch.
That goes because it's Hawaii. You're taking me on a roller coaster now, JayBee.
Snitches get glitches. He's a sick son of a glitch.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you need my verdict, don't you?
Yes, please.
Sorry, I just like completely forgot. Okay. Oh gosh, this one's a tough one for me, and I'm going to drag this out just a tiny bit to build up suspense. I like this episode. I enjoy it, but there's so many elements I don't like. And the thing is that there's so many, like, I really like the fact that Shaggy put a twist on like Scooby Doo, where are you? He said Scooby Doo, where were you? And Scoob calls Shaggy Shag in this episode, which means something completely different in England. And of course, like Fred,
Shag.
Daphne, and Velma all are the ones to say zoinks, which is quite funny. But so based on, I'm going to do two verdicts basically. Based on concept, it's an ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah. But based on the irregularity of, the chase music and animation, it's an ooh, ee, ooh, na, na.
Oh, so
Is this the episode that you said was going to be your first Nana? Or is there another one?
your first Nana.
No,
There's-
she said a little while ago there was an
Yeah.
episode that was going to be her first pass.
I thought that was the next series, and I'm gonna predict which one it is, but not today.
Oh, I mean, we'll have to figure out everything because this isn't the one that like I would full on pass. This is like, I will happily smash it, but at the same time, I'll only smash. No,
Boo.
You smashed it.
It's not a smash.
Oh, you mean ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah.
Oh gosh, I mean, I'm sorry, JayBee. I apologize.
Oh,
But it would have to be when I watch it again, when I'm not paying 100% attention. Otherwise, I will get caught up in the fact that Daphne loses her nose, her mouth. Like, what? Come on, guys. It's at least keep her nose and mouth. She needs them to breathe and talk. So
Maybe
it's like
it's
I'm
because
on the
JB
fence.
said that they need to gag her so many times, she just thought she'd rather
Yeah.
not have a mouth.
or maybe it's social
Yeah.
political commentary about the attitudes toward women in the 1970s, and that many of them felt like they didn't have a voice in a man's world. So it almost
Oh
maybe
my-
was fighting the power of oppression and saying, this is what's happening to women nowadays, and it's not okay. Perhaps it's
Oh
some
my-
type of,
Yeah.
fight the power.
Oh my gosh, JB, that was actually really intellectual and really like well put forward and deep. Like,
That's
I
what
didn't
she
expect that.
Thank you. Because I'm coloured and you're a purist. No, 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 no,
No,
no, no, no.
no, that's actually okay.
Oh,
I'm
Rhianna.
really JayBee.
Shall we ooh ee ooh ah, or shall we ting tang walla walla? What do you
Bing
say?
bang.
The chipmunks did it better though.
Mm.
Ooh, ee, ooh,
Can we
ting,
review
ting,
over on the chipmunks?
Oh, only if it's the squeakquel.
You only
Love
so you
the
only
squeakquel.
want to you only want to review the squeakquel.
Yeah.
So you,
I used to
Jesus.
love that movie.
No, it's good, but why only that?
I used to request to go to my sister's house just so I could watch it because my mum didn't like it.
Dude, why didn't
It's
you
like
like it? It's not
part
animated.
animation.
No, but
It's
she just
CGI.
thought the chipmunks' voices were silly.
Your
Wow.
mum is a.
In the
she's
countryside,
on
they
it.
thought voices were silly.
She went to see the new Minions movie recently, and she's like, because she was babysitting her grandchildren, she's like, it was absolutely stupid. You couldn't understand a single word they were saying. They're just going, nee, nee, nee. So,
No, it's easy to understand them. They're like,
sorry, all headphone users.
it's so
Oh, God.
easy.
Like,
JayBee,
oh gosh, have you
that's
heard
now an
them
apology
swear?
to the neighbours.
I'm gagging myself.
Okay, so Milly's raised JayBee's mouth while she wraps up the video.
Thank you for watching. I think we kind of did the community news right at the start of the video, so
Yeah, because we are the community news. We are the community
JayBee, you've
news.
lost your mouth. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time for Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Werewolf. Bye!
Fun fact about this, actually.
You lost your mouth.
This is just a fun fact. We always do abbreviated things to say things onto the desktop, and so I titled the visual for the next one, Who's Afraid of the BBW?